Off the Ivy, a Chicago Cubs podcast with Dan Bernstein, Matt Abaticola, and Cody Del Mendo on 312 Sports.
It's Off the Ivy on 312. We're brought to you by Russ Armstrong and Chicago Window Guys. Call 847-302-9171. Check out the 5-star reviews at chicagowindowguys.com. All I can say is, it wasn't the offensive explosion that I think everybody needed, but boy, that Ian Happ home run felt like the ending of a long bout of offensive constipation.
Yeah, and it certainly did, Dan, with the Cubs getting the 2-0 win. And it wasn't what you wanted to see from the offense, but you scored enough runs and you won the game and you ended your 4-game losing streak and you managed to salvage the third game in Atlanta. The Cubs at 28-16. 12 games over 500, first in the Central. They're 2.5 up on Milwaukee and St. Louis, 4 on Pittsburgh, and 5 on Cincinnati. And really, I can't say I can't say enough good stuff about Ben Brown. I know I haven't been the biggest fan of Ben Brown going into the year, and these last 2 starts, when they've needed him to step up and perform, he was outstanding yesterday. Went 4 innings through 65 pitches, like I'd said, 1 hit, 7 strikeouts, and 1 walk. He was great.
Yeah, I love when you bring him up, Matt, because I know you've taken a bit to get on the train, but yeah, he's again that sinker changeup, the usage being up this year. He's more confident using those pitches, which allows him to utilize that knuckle curve to get whiffs and strikeouts. Last night, I believe he had 9 whiffs and only threw 65 pitches. I can't wait for this guy to get fully stretched out. I mean, it's 2 starts, but also one of them was against the Braves and that lineup. And to me, you can't take this guy out of the rotation, even when Boyd comes back. Like this guy's got to stay in here, in my opinion. He's got that good of stuff. It was all about needing to add one more pitch and find some confidence with that changeup like he has this year. And so for me, it's obviously health is such an important thing for any pitcher, but this guy could be like, I don't want to say he's like the savior, but this guy could replace what you projected to get from Cade Horton this year in terms of the models. Not my optimism and hope, but what Cade Horton was projected for like 1.5 WAR. You can get that out of Ben Brown this year and maybe more, so
he's already at 1.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So you could replace Cade Horton with Ben Brown if this keeps going. But again, what he did against this Braves lineup was incredibly impressive. So he was, to me, the star of the night, along with the Cubs bullpen. Maton bounce back appearance. Jacob Webb in the 8th inning was solid, and then Palencia getting the save. You got those 3, if you get those 3 in a really good spot, you get Thielbar back at some point, and Hunter Harvey, who knows, but the stuff is there. I still think he can be a factor, and whatever other reliever that I'm missing because of all the injuries. But those 3 last night against this Braves lineup to shut out that Braves lineup, that was really impressive. And I came away from that game, even though the Cubs lost the series, like I look forward to the next series at Wrigley Field. Like,
well, let me just say too, Palencia was chunking last night.
He almost had an immaculate inning.
That was, you talk about pumping gas. It was like 101, hundo. And even though when Austin Riley came up at the end, I'm like, damn it, he's going to barrel one. Because that's just what he's been doing against the Cubs, is picking out one that he's getting the meat of the bat on. And he did, but he hit it to the right place.
Yeah, and you can't try harder in baseball. It just doesn't work that way. You're not gonna try harder. Mechanics and the mental aspect of it are so important. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody talked to these guys in the bullpen, because you left out Milner also. So Milner, Maton, Webb, Palencia last night went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, and struck out 6. Those 4 guys. And so I don't know if it was Counsell or Hadavi, but someone was like, hey, guys, step the fuck up. Like, this is a big series. We need to win this game. Brown's going to start, and he might give us 4, maybe 5 at the most, but we need you guys to pitch tonight. and they went out there and they all pitched great. And it was the bullpen that you expect to see and want to see. And, and they're talented. So I think you will see that more often than the other stuff. You did mention a really interesting comment about Ben Brown. Now, we don't have to worry about this or talk about it. It's not on the radar until we know that Matthew Boyd is healthy. But that is a conversation that we're going to put a pin in. We're going to come back to it because we will have to address that. When Boyd is healthy and he gets clearance to throw and he gets his rehab starts, we'll start talking about this rotation. But yeah, definitely keep that in there. I want to circle back to that because I think what he's doing right now is showing that he should be in the rotation. But we'll table that for later because it's not the time or the place right now. But a huge win for the Cubs. Chris Sale, he looked great, but they got 6 innings out of him. They got 5 hits, and it was like they had him. They delivered a couple body blows in the first and second inning. You got a couple guys on, you got less than 2 outs, and they just couldn't get anything across, which was frustrating. But yeah, he gave up 5 hits. The 1 run wasn't even earned, and then 8 strikeouts. So for that matchup for Ben Brown to go against Chris Sale, really 2 really good teams with 2 good starters, and it was really great to see the Cubs get the win.
Yeah, I mean, the Kim at short with the error that set up the RBI ground out or fielder's choice, whatever it was ruled for Matt Shaw. I mean, it was a break that I felt like the last 4 games the Cubs weren't getting a break, just like something that kind of goes your way, and that's what happened. And in a game where the final score is 2-0. Any mistake like that, it's going to be magnified. And so, like, a lot of people right now have been in my mentions on social media, telling me we need to bench Swanson and put Shaw in there. And I get it, but Swanson's defense, he had another great defensive play.
You can't take his glove out. You can't take his glove out of the lineup.
Who's calling to bench Dansby Swanson? Come on.
I'm just telling you, consistent Gold Glove player. You just don't do it.
Block those people.
Right. It's not smart. It's not smart.
Well, the point I'm trying to make though too is that the defense for the Cubs is so important, and I think Shaw is a good defensive player on the infield. He was a Gold Glove finalist at third base last year, so it's not like you're changing too much. You can move Nico over to short, who's had success over there, and you could put Shaw at second for some games. But I'm not saying you should bench Swanson, and even I'm saying that even with, he has a 650 OPS right now, and let's be honest, his road trip has been atrocious to watch at the plate. But the defense means so much. And that defensive play he had last night, and then when you watch the other team and who they have at short, I don't know what his numbers defensively are, Kim, who I'm talking about, but it matters so much who's playing defense up the middle. And if you want to use another team, for example, Willy Adames for the Giants, he's one of the worst defenders in baseball. And how good are the Giants? They're not. They're terrible.
Yeah, that's one of the worst.
So important.
That's one of the worst current contracts in baseball right now, too, by the way. I mean, that's easily one of the top 10 worst contracts right there. But you cannot sit Dansby Swanson. You're not going to sit Dansby Swanson. No. If he needs a day off, sure, a day off, you switch guys around, you do things. But you don't use the words benching and a Gold Glove consistent shortstop like he is, period.
I think with the offensive thing for him, like, he's just a really streaky player because 2 weeks ago we were giving this guy flowers because he was performing, but he's in one of those down stretches right now. And as a streaky player that he is not fun to watch hit when he's going bad. And there are guys that are okay to watch when they're going bad because what kind of hitter they are, or maybe they've had more success than downtimes. Dansby Swanson is like, he is as streaky is, and watching his downs are not fun. But
yeah, when he's going badly, just by my observation, he extends the outside part of the plate, and he starts to lean a little bit and starts to get some chase in harder breaking stuff away, and his swing starts to look a little long. So to me, when he's going badly, it can be frustrating because you start to see the pitch out of the hand and you're like, oh yeah, he's going to bite on that one. Yeah. The rule with these Cubs generally is know your zone, and everything will be fine if individual players are simply not swinging at pitches out of the zone and accepting their walks. Everything comes back to that. Keep seeing a lot of pitches everything will end up being okay. You will be who you are. I would just continue to urge that kind of, good takes. Look for if somebody's going badly, look for good takes and the hits will come.
Yeah. Speaking of like the downs with Swanson, I did feel like PCA had a great game for a game that didn't have a lot of runs. He didn't strike out against Chris Sale. He had a hit off Chris Sale. Mm-hmm. He worked a walk later in the game and stole second base. If that, he's not going to be your 9-hitter all the time, but against lefties, he mostly will, probably. But it's still a continuance of what we've seen in May from PCA. And I mention it too because he hadn't had a good series these last couple days, along with the rest of the offense. So I'm hoping that last night's game can kind of ignite him going to the Southside this weekend.
Yeah, and even looking at the Cubs overall as a team, offensively, they're 10th in the league in batting average. They're second in on-base percentage at 340, right behind the Dodgers now, who are 342. They're 7th in slugging, and they're 5th in OPS. And you have all of that. You're a top 10 team in all those categories offensively. You're the best defensive team in the game right now. It just reinforces this whole idea of Dansby Swanson's fine. This is what he is offensively, and you need him, Nico, and PCA up the middle. That's more important than getting Dansby Swanson to hit 250 or 200 or 220, whatever it is. His glove is more valuable than that. Before we look ahead to the weekend series with the White Sox, any other closing notes on this Atlanta series before we look ahead?
I mean, I kind of said it earlier. I am really looking forward to when they come to Wrigley because even though the Cubs lost the first 2 games and game 1, they lost by 3. The second game, it was tied late. Maton gives up the 3 runs, whatever. You lose by 3, but it was close for 8 innings. It's the most obvious thing to say, but I won't be surprised if these 2 teams get matched up in a playoff series somehow. And again, even though they lost this series, I feel really, I don't want to say confident, but I'm more interested in seeing how the Cubs play against them in a few with seeing what the Braves brought to them this series, how the Cubs will play different against them at Wrigley. And I know it's the regular season doesn't necessarily mean much, but when I look at this Braves team, they're just a team. They scare me more than Milwaukee and their devil magic. They in many ways they scare me more than the Dodgers and their Hall of Fame lineup that they have. They're just very deep, and their pitching is great. They haven't really shown a lot of flaws. I mean, to win the one game of this series, you needed an Ian Happ homer late and an error to get those 2 runs, and it's great that it happened. And I'm glad they pulled it out. But this Braves team is you have to play perfect against them to win, and so just interested to see where both teams are the next time they play it. And they could see each other in October, and I want to know, or I want to feel confident against Atlanta after the next time the Cubs play, if that makes any sense.
No,
wait a second. So you're admitting it was a measuring stick series then?
For me, it was. You can make Matt made the argument yesterday or the day before about how people saying that it's a measuring stick. Fuck that. The Cubs have won 2 10-game winning streaks, this and that. That's right. That is definitely true too. For me personally, internally, I'm so scarred by this organization that I need to see more outside of these 2 10-game winning streaks, which I know is a crazy sentence to say.
Give me another 10-game winning streak. That's not enough.
I'm not asking for another 10-game winning streak. I am just scarred because despite all of this, we're still only 2.5 games up on Milwaukee, and the National League is great.
Yep.
It's great. And this division, of course, despite everything, the 2 10-game winning streaks, the entire division is good. And so I need to see the Cubs continue this, because while they won 10 games in a row, they just lost 4 in a row. I'm glad that they snapped the streak, but I also don't want to see them lose another few in a row now, especially going to the South Side. So
I'm not saying that I don't think they're good or anything. I'm just saying that I need to see more to feel a lot more confident about this team going up against a team like the Braves in the playoffs. And at least, even though, in my opinion, the Braves last year, it was like an outlier year. They had a ton of injuries, this and that. The year before that, man, they were considered right up there with the Dodgers in terms of the best teams in the National League.
Yeah, I mean, let's not be surprised about the Braves. I mean, and again, I made that whole argument about the measuring stick thing. These are two really good teams. These are two teams that are going to be in the playoffs, and that's the way it should be. Don't be surprised by the Braves. They have a good roster, and I know payroll doesn't equate to wins. Just look at the Mets. Look what the Phillies are doing right now as well, too. But the Braves are a top 6 payroll team. They should be a good team, and they are a good team. And this was just a series that featured two teams that should be in the NL playoffs. And the Braves got the better of it just there, winning 2 out of 3. You talk about the White Sox series, but again, before we look into that and look ahead at the schedule, I want to just do a real quick ABS check because, as I keep tracking these things, Carson Kelly, I don't know if you guys know his numbers. He's 19 for 21 and is leading all catchers at a 91% success rate. The next closest qualifying catcher is Dylan Dingler from Detroit, who is 21 for 26, and he's at an 81% success rate. Carson Kelly right now at 91%.
He's magic. He can sense it. He like you say, know your zone. That is another way. You would hope that if he can see the ball that well, it should translate to hitting.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a stat related to ABS that can tell you when he's challenging, like the leverage spot, who's on base, all this and that. But I feel like he also challenges. And again, this is a feeling, an internal feeling in my gut when I think about it. It feels like he makes the call, makes the challenge when it really matters the most too. When guys are on base, or if it's late, or if you're in a particular count where a ball or a strike can change the entire bat, something like that. So I haven't felt, even though he gets them all right, and that probably helps. I haven't been in a position where I'm upset where he makes a challenge at all. Of course, only 2 wrong. That makes sense, but
yeah, no, he has a pretty good eye when to call it, when to challenge it. I haven't seen a further breakdown of ABS stats. I'm surprised and impressed, actually, and happy that ESPN actually puts this ABS tracker out on their MLB tag. So I'm glad that we even have that to take a look at. But very impressive numbers for Carson Kelly. Looking ahead to the schedule, the White Sox host the Cubs tonight, starting 3 over at Rate Field. Is it Rate Field? It's not guaranteed rate anymore. It's Rate.
It is Rate Field.
Field. Okay.
And for me, I need to see Cabrera right the ship here.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see less hard contact and more bats missed and more of him being in control of these plate appearances instead of swimming upstream.
Yeah, so that's Cabrera tonight takes on Sean Burke for the White Sox. And yeah, this is it seems like the trend we've seen with Cabrera in his last few starts have been pointing in the wrong direction, and they keep going in the wrong direction even further. So yeah, it would be huge to see him make a solid start tonight. Again, he's had a lot of quality starts. He just hasn't looked as sharp as I expected him to look in his start so far this year.
Yeah, I'm looking at his Baseball Savant page right now, and it really kind of describes my feeling with him, which is just mid. Like there's some red, there's some blue, and it's all just kind of like crazy, and you don't really know exactly how to feel about it. But 2 things stick out to me. He's got a 36% chase rate, which is 90th percentile, but his barrel rate against him is 12.8%, which is 8th percentile. So he's getting guys to chase. He's, his whiff rate is at 27.3%. But when guys do make contact against him, they're barreling the ball and hitting it far or wherever grass is. And I think that's a good explanation of just the Edward Cabrera experience has been so far. There, as you said, Matt, there have been a few outings where I do think he looked dominant in many ways, but I think also in some of those outings too, he gave up a couple barreled balls that stayed in the park or into a glove, whatever it is.
I don't know if we're going to get dominant Edward Cabrera tonight, but I am asking him to just, quiet down this White Sox lineup that's rolling right now, winning 5 straight games. I need a bounce back appearance from him and just keep the Cubs in the game. You let the defense
stay off the middle of the
you.
bat. Stay off the middle of the bat. Like I see a spike in line drive percentage up well over his career average at 23.1%. His hard hit rate is spiking and his soft contact rate way down. I know you're doing the same thing with sort of a different graphic on Savant, but he is at his soft contact percentage for his career. It's 13.7%. At the moment, it's at 6. Like when he gives up contact, nothing is soft.
Yeah,
and the hard hit rate, his career hard hit rate is 32.8. That is up to 40.6 right now.
Yeah, what I'm going to have to do is, I think after we're done with our recordings today, Dan and Cody's, take a look at his game chart here and see who's caught him and see if that has some kind of an impact to it. Because, I mean, again, this is his first year with the team, and he's only been there since spring training.
Right.
Who works with him? And if he has, because he has this mixed bag of stats right now that you're looking at the 2 different charts, Fangraphs and Baseball Savant. He's getting the whiffs, he's getting the chases, but he's also getting barreled up hard. Is it that one call? Are we just not connecting as far as what's the put out pitch, where to go now, how to attack it here? Is there a communication issue? Is there just a feel issue for it right now? So there's a lot to it because it's weird to have that mixed bag of stats.
Well, the other number here that is apparent. Batters make contact in the zone over 90% of the time. And that's not it's a high number for him. His career number for in zone contact is 85%, but that's a 5.2% jump. And it is by far the highest number of his career. And I don't know if that sometimes is sequencing, it's sometimes location, and it's sometimes velo, movement, spin, all of these things. So it's going to be a project. But if in fact he can't blow it by guys in the zone, and that forces him to nibble a little bit more, and it just changes the dynamics of an overall approach, they've got to find out for whatever reason why he's not able to get guys to miss when they're swinging.
Yeah. Well, right now it just feels like he has confidence in the changeup and sinker combination. I mean, he barely throws his 4-seam fastball. It's like 9% against right-handed hitters, and I think he throws it a little bit more against lefties at 19%. But he is throwing that changeup more often than not to both sides of the plate, and I feel like he needs those other pitches to be more effective. And just looking at his usage, it just seems like he has most confidence in the changeup, and that's it. And this changeup's great, but you got to use other pitches to set that up, because that's how he gets the whiffs, is with that changeup.
Yeah, before we look at Sean Burke and then the matchups for this weekend, the Cubs do have this 3-game series with the White Sox at Rate Field. They come back home for 6 games, 3 against Milwaukee starting Monday, big series, and then they finish up the 3 against Houston before they go back on the road, I believe, to Pittsburgh. So White Sox, Milwaukee, and then Houston. The White Sox, as you mentioned, winners of 5 games in a row. They are 22-21 right now, so game over 500. They're a game out of first in the AL Central. And as you pointed out earlier to us, Cody, before we started recording, the first time since 2008 that both teams are above 500 when they meet. So it doesn't happen all that often. The whole dialogue and narrative of, it's great when these 2 teams are good, that generally doesn't happen, that both teams are good when they do play. And people are excited about, I want to see both teams good. I don't. I'm a Cubs fan. I want to see the White Sox when they're terrible, just like any other team. Just like in football, I don't want the starting quarterback for the opposing team to play. I want the backup to play. I want the worst team possible. So no, I'm not excited because they're both over 500 and playing well. I want a shitty team that the Cubs get to play. That's what I'd prefer. But what is cute though, it's so, God, it's so adorable. It's so absolutely adorable. Did you know this, that the White Sox have had 2 separate 5-game winning streaks this year? Like 2 5-game winning streaks. It's so cute. I was like, wow, that's really good, guys. I'm very proud of our fans and our friends and the team on the south side of Chicago to get 2 separate 5-game winning streaks. Really cute. Nice job, guys. And I'm really looking forward to this series starting tonight.
Russ Armstrong owns Chicago Window, guys, and he is ready to help you improve your home with brand new windows. And as the weather warms up and you get bothered every time you hear that expensive AC kick on, well, it'll do that less when you have windows that are better at holding all that cool air in your home. So call him. He's going to match any price. He's going to explain why these buy one, get one free gimmicks and all these other teasers that you hear from these giant marketing companies that are designed as to make you think that they've got a window factory and they know everything about windows, but they're really not. They're just kind of marketing, advertising things. That's not the case with Russ. Russ owns the factory here in Chicago where he custom makes the windows. His people install them. You cut out a lot of BS with Russ and you get straight answers. You get somebody who pays attention to you and you get very high quality windows and a painless process. I know this because I have been through the process a couple of times, and it's why I've recommended him personally. You hear me do it on air. I do it off air as well to neighbors and friends and coworkers, and that's why I'm recommending Russ right now. So call him, get on the schedule, get your new windows, get this done, have him to the house. When you're getting quotes, you can ask these other sales reps who's installing your windows. They're not going to know because they pick people up each day, and they've got randos in and around your house. Russ doesn't. It's his crew. It's his people. He knows them. So you have that peace of mind. Call 847-302-9171. Check out Russ's 5-star reviews at ChicagoWindowGuys.com.
So Sean Burke on the mound for the Sox tonight, 3.68 ERA. He's been a little better on the road than he has at home so far this year. Left-handers have been better against him than righties have. He's been striking both sides of the plate out, though. 36 strikeouts so far this year, 18 on each side. This is interesting, Dan. We talked about this, about walk rates and how walks are up. His walk rate's down, and it's down considerably this year. So he's found something there for him. He's actually top 25 in baseball right now in strikeouts to walks. He had a quality start against San Diego 2 starts ago, and then he got blowed up pretty good against Seattle at home, where he went 4 1/3, allowed 6 earned runs and 2 home runs. That is a 12-8 loss for the Sox. He keeps that 4-seamer fastball up really high in the zone, both lefties and righties. And then he'll drop that curve in on right-handers. So here's one thing I want to look at. PCA in his career against Sean Burke is 3 for 5 with a double and a triple. And the way that PCA, if you've noticed how he's been hitting the ball coming away from him, going to the right-handed batter's box, and he's been getting that to the opposite field. He's been getting to the left field a lot. And I think if he continues that approach, he's going to start seeing dividends from it. I'm looking for PCA to do some damage tonight. If he can keep that approach and be patient with his swings, and he gets that curve to drop away from him and drive that in the left field, he could do some damage for the Cubs tonight. Nico also in his career 3 for 5. So they're small sample sizes, but both guys 3 for 5 against Sean Burke right now. Bregman stood out looking at the lineup as 0 for 4, or no, Michael Busch 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, you mentioned the triple that PCA had against Burke. I believe it was at Wrigley Field last year in I think the Cubs blew out the White Sox that day again, and Sean Burke started the day. So, I think this White Sox team is a lot different than last year's White Sox team, even if they are, maybe they're outperforming expectations or whatever right now. And when I say maybe, they for sure are, but will they be able to keep it up all year long? That's something that we're just going to find out. But their starting pitching is still something that I'm like, when I see the box score, I'm like, how are they doing this? And I know Davis Martin has been really good for them. And Noah Schultz is a guy that, it's their top pitching prospect. And I know Dan compared him to Randy Johnson that one time. And anyway,
well, he's similar. He's like the body and everything. I don't.
Yeah,
Did you give him
okay, I'm joking around. Everybody who listen knows what I said. I'm good. I don't have to defend myself.
But the point I'm getting at here is that Sean Burke's a guy that this Cubs offense should be able to get going against tonight. And like I said about the end of the Braves series, I know it wasn't a lot of runs, but you get a big win like that, maybe can ignite a team a little bit going to the next series. And
this Sox offense is playing well. Cubs pitching staff's playing well the last 5 games. It'll be interesting to see how they do. Now, you mentioned Burke. I was looking at Munetaka Murakami's numbers the last 7 games. He's hitting 130 and slugging below 300. So the last 7 games for Murakami, he's kind of came down to earth, I guess you could say, a little bit, which is kind of crazy to say. But 12 strikeouts his last 23 at-bats, which is not really surprising. I know he's like the big, like everyone's talking about him. Colson Montgomery has been great for them as well. And they got other pieces. I like Chase Meidroth as a player. But for me, keeping Murakami quiet this series is going to be key because he is 3 true outcome guy.
Especially there, yes.
Yeah, especially there. So if you can
keep usually,
Murakami
and
quiet,
I was just looking at the wind here, and it's going to be breezy directly from the south. But he hits the ball so hard, it doesn't even really matter.
It doesn't matter.
Murakami, if he gets one, it's the difference between 400 feet and 440 feet.
Yeah, to me, it's you have to find a way to either strike out or walk him and just not let him beat you. To me, like that's the key to the Cubs winning the series for me. Maybe I haven't watched the Sox enough to fully know, but to me, I feel like they've played their best when he's rolling. And I know they've won 5 straight, and I just gave you his last 7 games, but
yeah,
they're getting, Randall Grichuk hit a 2-run homer last night for them. Like,
right.
Is that going to happen? Well, he is a Cubs killer, but you get what I'm saying. Like they're core pieces that, everyone has been talking about. He's someone that you just, no matter what, I feel like you got to keep quiet, and this Cubs pitching staff can find a way to slow down some of these other guys who have been performing well the last 5 games for the Sox. So if you're going to win this series, which the Cubs better win this series because you just lost a series, you don't want to lose back-to-back series. You got to win this game tonight, and that gives you 2 chances to take the series Saturday or Sunday. So also it's my birthday on Sunday, so they better win the series.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the White Sox, right now in the middle of a 5-game winning streak, which is their second 5-game winning streak of the season, which is really cute, very adorable for the Southsiders. Looking over the weekend, you have Jameson Taillon going tomorrow against the aforementioned Davis Martin. Martin, his last 17 starts in a row, he's allowed 3 earned runs or less. And what's transformed for him this year are his secondary pitches, which is why I think he's seen a little bit of a change in his trajectory and success so far early here this year. He's been able to use those second and third pitches a little better with his fastball, which has helped him quite a bit in like put out pitches or chase pitches. So he's doing really well. And then on Sunday, it's Colin Ray against Eric with an extra K Fetty. So that's your matchup. You get Edward Cabrera tonight and Sean Burke, Taillon and Martin, and then Ray, and then Fetty as the White Sox look to continue their winning streak. The Cubs hoping to start their own winning streak after taking last night's game from the Braves.
Yeah,
and that.
Go ahead. Just go ahead.
No, I was going to wrap it.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Again, I just want to mention that you mentioned this the pitching, the probables. You got Burke tonight, and then Fetty on Sunday. Yeah, you had success against Fetty when he was with the Cardinals. I don't know if he's kind of figured it out with the White Sox again, but I think Saturday will be tough with Davis Martin on the mound. So tonight's game is key to win this series. But they did do well against Chris Sale. So what do I know? So
right, and we talked about that going to the Braves series. About hey, you got to take advantage of Grant Holmes before you have to worry about Chris Sale on Thursday night, and you see how that all worked out. Go out tonight. They need 27 outs. Get those 27 outs. Score more runs, whether it's by 1 or it's by 30. Just go out and win the game. Let's see. I think as Dan's focus here on Edward Cabrera is a key to watch tonight. Offensively, I'm looking at PCA to make some noise here in the lineup for the Cubs, and hopefully they get their second win in a row.
Bottom line, should be a lovely night for baseball and a great reason to go out there and enjoy the festivities. And don't be an idiot and don't start a fight.
Yeah.
And don't fall into the bullpen.
PSA. Yep. Stay in your seats. And if you have a hard time tonight going there and finding your seat, because there'll be a lot more bodies, I think there's ushers around that can help. So if you don't know where your seat is, just grab someone and say, normally there's emptier ones around me, but I can't see my seat now. They'll point you and guide you to the correct seat if you need help finding it, because there'll be more people there.
There you have it. on today's Off the Ivy.
I don't know why we're laughing. I don't understand. I'm trying to be
Matt's
helpful.
just like out here, like he's choosing violence over anything.
Just ignore him.
No, I listen.
What do you mean? Why are you
I see you
me?
chirping over
rude,
here. I know what you're doing, and that's.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not
what he's doing.
It's okay.
Yeah, but if you identify it and acknowledge it, it's gonna get.
It's offensive to me because I think it's rude. Yes, I don't know why you're. I mean, why you guys are laughing at me?
Off the Ivy, a Chicago Cubs podcast brought to you by Chicago Window Guys on 312 Sports.
2 5-game win streaks are cute. I like it. It's adorable. Let it go. Keep at it. Little engine that could.
Off the Ivy, a Chicago Cubs podcast with Dan Bernstein, Matt Abaticola, and Cody Del Mendo on 312 Sports.